Frappuccino? Where's my fucking Frappuccino?
In 4th grade, my music taste made absolutely no sense. So I'd sit on my swing set listening to 99 Problems. I got 99 problems. With absolutely no problems. I'd listen to Faint like I wasn't the one being seen or heard.
I am a little bit of loneliness, little bit of disregard.
Under the Sea, thinking I was some colorful fish with a crush on a mermaid.
You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake.
And old crooner music like I was some boomer.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Old Blue Eyes. It was a totally normal rotation for a 10-year-old. But that's kind of how the music worked back then. Before algorithms decided what you might like, your cousins did, your friends did, MTV did. Every new song felt like somebody was handing you a secret. Then one day, MTV announces that they're gonna put Linkin Park and Jay-Z on the same stage. On paper, it sounds ridiculous. One of the biggest rappers in the world and one of the biggest rock bands in the world. An MTV mashup special. That should have been one of those weird, gimmicky 2000s things. Jay-Z plus Linkin Park plus MTV. Sounds like an idea someone would pitch after saying youth market too many times. And to be fair, that's absolutely how it could have been. This was MTV at the height of crossover culture. Everything had to feel big. Everything had to feel like a moment. You had TRL, music videos, award shows, and these massive artists who felt larger than life because you didn't have access to them 24/7. So when MTV put Jay-Z and Linkin Park together for a collision course, there was every reason for it to feel forced. But it didn't. And I think Dirt Off Your Shoulder, Lying From You, is the perfect place to start. It shows the basic trick of the whole album. Jay-Z brings his effortless cool. And Linkin Park brings that anxious, explosive pressure. The music sounds like something's about to break open. Those two feelings should fight each other, but somehow they balance. Jay-Z sounds even colder over those heavier guitars, and Linkin Park's music feels even bigger with Jay-Z's voice. That's when Collision Course starts to reveal what it actually is. It's not just, what if we put rap vocals over rock instrumentals? It's, what if these two intensities were closer than we realized? Because Jay-Z and Linkin Park don't sound the same. They don't come from the same world. They don't carry themselves the same way, but they both understand scale. They both understood tension and how to make things feel huge. And as a kid watching that on MTV, I didn't have words for that. I knew it sounded awesome. That's the first magic trick of Collision Course. It takes an idea that sounds wrong and within minutes makes it feel obvious.
It's like the face inside is right.
If the first track proves the idea can work, Big Pimpin' Paper Cut is where Collision Course starts to feel dangerous. Because in the beginning, it's almost too smooth. Jay-Z slides in and at first, it doesn't feel like something far away from what he would normally rap over. There's bounce to it, there's confidence. Feels like he's barely trying but completely controlling the song. And that's what makes the track sneak up on you. Because underneath that smoothness, Paper Cut's boiling, bubbling. You can feel the Linkin Park side creeping in. The pressure starts rising, the song starts tightening. It's not just Jay-Z over a beat anymore. It starts to feel like two different worlds are moving towards each other. And Linkin Park was my doorway into that music. Before Linkin Park, the hardest thing I probably heard was Down With The Sickness. And even that felt like some random scary thing from some other world. I grew up hearing Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, the Bare Naked Ladies, Perry Como, and I used to love Mambo No. 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Which to me felt like a mix of rap and that smooth Rat Pack vibe. I wasn't sitting there with some deep knowledge of hardcore or metal or anything like that. So when I first heard Linkin Park, it felt new. It was angry, but not in the way that would push me away. It was angry in a way that made sense. It made the whole thing feel emotional instead of just loud. That's the key. Linkin Park made heavy music feel understandable to a kid who came in through rap. And that's why Jay-Z fits better than he probably should. Because Linkin Park was already built like a bridge. Mike Shinoda was rapping.
And I've got nothing to say.
Joe Hahn on the turntables. The production had loops and textures and rhythm. They were heavy, but they weren't sealed off from hip-hop. They were already speaking the same language. So when Big Pimpin' starts blending into Paper Cut, it doesn't feel like Jay-Z's invading a rock song. It feels like the door was already open. And once that Paper Cut energy starts rising, the whole point of Collision Course becomes clear. The whole thing works because it's not matching songs by tempo or slapping vocals over instrumentals. It's matching energy. Jay-Z's got swagger, Linkin Park has anxiety. Jay-Z sounds untouchable, and Linkin Park sounds like everything's about to fall apart. And somehow when you put those two things together, they don't cancel each other out. They make each other bigger. That's the thing about this track. It's smooth enough to let you in, then it builds until you realize it's not just a remix project. That's the first crash. Jigga What Faint is one that messed with me at first. Because I already knew Faint. I knew it from my Meteora CD. And Faint was probably my favorite Linkin Park song at the time. That song had everything that made Linkin Park feel different to me as a child. The strings, the synth, the speed, Mike was rapping real fast. The whole thing felt urgent before I knew what urgent meant. It doesn't ease you in, it starts immediately. So when I heard this track, I was waiting for that.
A little bit of loneliness, little bit of disregard, handful of complaints, but I can't help the fact that everyone can see these scars.
I was waiting for the song I knew, but at first Jay-Z just starts rapping. And I remember feeling a little disappointed, like, where's Faint? That's what makes this track so cool, because it doesn't give you the payoff right away. It makes you sit in the Jay-Z side first. It lets him set the pace and makes you wait for that Linkin Park explosion. And then it finally hits. That moment is the reason the track works. Because once Linkin Park comes in, it feels like the whole track hit the nail on the head. That thing you were waiting for finally arrives. And because they held it back for so long, it lands so much harder. That's something Collision Course does better than people probably remember. It doesn't just mash songs together, it understands anticipation. A bad mashup gives you both songs at the same time, and they hope the novelty carries you to the end. But this project knows that Collision means more if you actually make the people wait for the impact. And Faint was the perfect song for that. Because Faint already feels like a song built around pressure. The original track's all tension and release, and that feeling of trying to force someone to finally hear you. It proves how strong Linkin Park songs were, because even when you delay the hook, even when you restructure the entire thing around Jay-Z, the second that chorus arrives, the song becomes undeniable. And as a kid, I wasn't thinking about arrangement, or tension, or payoff. I was just reacting. I knew what Faint was supposed to do to me. And when Collision Course finally lets that happen, it was like experiencing the song for the first time all over again. And that's why it didn't feel like a remix. All these songs were being rebuilt, picked apart. I love seeing them hang out and laugh and experiment with sounds and actually work through the music. Production always fascinated me for the same reason I think cooking fascinates me. You're finding ingredients, you're trying to make it balance. Too much of one thing ruins it, but when the right pieces hit at the right time, it feels obvious after the fact. That's what this track feels like. It takes the part you want, it holds it back just long enough, and then it drops it exactly when you need it. Then there's Numb Encore, the one everybody remembers. And I get why. This was the song. This was the radio song. The song MTV played long after the concert was over. If people remember anything about this album, it's probably Jay-Z walking into Numb.
Now what the hell are you waiting for? Now look what you made me do.
And that huge Linkin Park chorus turning into something that felt like an anthem. It was awesome. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend Numb Encore is a bad song. It's not. I would never skip it. It sounds like the moment the whole project kind of takes a bow. But I think it's the weakest song on the album. There, I said it. Not because it doesn't work. It's because it works almost too well. That's actually my problem with it. The track is so smooth and polished, and like obviously the single, that it doesn't have the same danger that the other songs do. It doesn't build anticipation the same way Jigga What Faint does. It doesn't sneak up on you like Big Pimp and Paper Cut. It doesn't hit like Points of Authority, 99 Problems, One Step Closer. It's less of a collision and more like a fender bender. A really good fender bender, but still, it's the easiest entry point, and it's probably why it became the hit. Jay-Z in Victory Lap mode, it gives you one of Linkin Park's biggest emotional choruses. It has that thank you to the fans feeling already built into it. It feels less like an experiment and more like a celebration that the experiment worked. But it also means it's not the track that explains the magic best. It's the poster. It's the one you play for somebody who needs the safest version of the idea.
Make some noise!
But if someone asked me why Collision Course worked, I wouldn't start here. This track showed you that Linkin Park and Jay-Z could make a hit together. The rest of the album shows you why they belong together.
H to the Izzo,
B to the is A.
pushes on my nizzle, you should dribble down and be
Izzo, in the end, isn't my favorite track on the album, but it might be the best place to talk about why the album made so much sense to me in the first place. Because by the time I heard Collision Course, my music taste was already being built like a mashup. I had my dad's CDs, I had burned CDs. I had CDs I bought. I had CDs I borrowed. I had CDs I probably shouldn't have even had. I had songs I heard on MTV and VH1 that I would have to write down so I could find them later. And all of that went into this AC/DC CD book. That was the archive. That was my Spotify. A giant CD case full of whatever I could get my hands on. My go-to spot was the swing set with the headphones. That's where I listened to everything. Whatever I found, borrowed, or burned. And that's the thing about music back then. It felt collected. Now if I hear a song, I can find it in 5 seconds. Back then, hearing the song was only one step. You had to remember it, you had to write it down, you had to ask somebody about it, or you had to wait for it to come back on MTV and catch the beginning of the song so you could see the title, the artist, and then you had to hope you could find it on LimeWire. And eventually, you'd have to figure out how to use LimeWire yourself, and probably give all your family computers viruses. But that was part of it. Music discovery felt like a scavenger hunt, and because it was harder to find, it felt more personal when you did find it. And that's why Collision Course fits this era so perfectly. Because the album itself feels like that CD book. It's rap, it's rock, it's MTV, it's remix culture. It's burned CD logic, turned into an official project. And Izzo, in the end, works in this context because both songs were built around memory.
It starts with one thing. I don't know why.
They're hook songs. They're songs that get stuck in your head.
pushes on my nizzle, you should dribble down and be
Jay-Z and Linkin Park both understood that. They both knew how to make something feel huge, but also simple enough for you to remember. It wasn't just aggression, and it wasn't just novelty. It was hooks. The reason a kid could bounce from Jay-Z to Linkin Park is because all of it was built around songs you remembered. Something catches your ear, and suddenly you need to own it. And I was lucky because my parents were pretty cool about that stuff. They let me watch some questionable movies. They let me listen to some bad music, and maybe absorb culture a little earlier than I should have. And look, I'm not in jail, so I think it worked out. But even then, you still have these weird little kid discoveries. Like when I got Get Rich or Die Trying, and nobody told me that Walmart only sold edited CDs. I sat on my swing set, ready to listen to 50, and I thought my CD was skipping. I thought it was genuinely broken. That was the era, half discovery, half confusion. And somehow that made the music feel more alive. Because you were figuring it out as you went. You were building your taste out of whatever you could find. So when Jay-Z and Linkin Park came together,
Come on.
I didn't hear it as two genres that were supposed to stay separate. I heard it like another burned CD in the book, another piece of the collection, another impossible combination that somehow made sense.
I got 99 problems, but
J1, come on.
And then there's Points of Authority, 99 Problems, One Step Closer. This is it. This is the one. If Numb and Encore is a song that everyone remembers, this is a track that proves Collision Course wasn't a gimmick, because this track feels like the whole Crash.
it's 94 and the trunk is raw and the rear view mirror is the motherfucking law.
A 3-car pileup. It's not just 2 songs meeting. It's 3 songs stacked into one giant pressure cooker. And because 2 of those songs are Linkin Park songs, you already know it's building towards Chester about to open it up. But before that happens, Jay-Z sounds amazing over the guitar. Him and Mike are going back and forth rapping.
99 problems in a shake one. If you haven't girl problems, I'll prepare you, son. I've got 99.
It works because the anger matches. In 99 Problems, Jay-Z's pissed. He's talking about being pulled over, profiled, questioned, disrespected, and he's doing it with that cool Jay-Z control. He sounds angry, but he's not losing it. Then Linkin Park brings a completely different kind of anger. This anger is not Jay-Z's anger. It's not street level, police stop, grown man, keep your cool anger. It's early 2000s rock angst. Mad at your parents, mad at your girlfriend, mad at society, mad at yourself. Mad in a way you fully don't even understand yet. And somehow those 2 types of anger, they meet perfectly. That's why this track goes so hard. Jay-Z's being pushed one way, Linkin Park's being pushed another way. They're coming from completely different worlds. But both of them are dealing with pressure. Both of them are dealing with disrespect. Both of them are dealing with being pushed closer and closer to the edge. So when 99 Problems lands over those Points of Authority guitars, it doesn't feel random. It feels obvious. Like the song was hiding there the whole time. And then the One Step Closer part comes in, and that's when the whole thing turns into pure release. That breakdown is the moment. Jay joining in with Linkin Park over that ending, the energy rising.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just want to say thank you guys for sticking around and hanging with us.
Chester about to go insane.
Let's go! One, Shut up when I'm shutting it down!
The whole track feels like it's about to break open.
Come on, yes, sing it! Shut up!
That's the true magic of Collision Course.
Break everything you say to me!
Not the clean version, not the safest version, not the radio version. This. The part that feels too loud, too big, and too aggressive, but somehow still perfectly arranged. This is where the album proves that it's not rap plus rock. It was pressure plus pressure, swagger plus angst, control plus release. Jay-Z could stand in front of Linkin Park's guitars and not get swallowed. Linkin Park could take Jay-Z's voice and make it feel even bigger. And when Chester comes in at the end, it feels like the album finally does what it promises. It collides.
What you do to the table, I bring what I do to the table, uncompromised.
And that's why Collision Course still sticks with me. Not because it's the most polished project ever, not because every track is perfect, not because the idea makes sense when you explain it out loud. Honestly, it still sounds kind of ridiculous. Jay-Z, Linkin Park, MTV, 6-song mashup, that should have been a gimmick. But it worked because that's what music felt like during that era. It was chaotic, but it was personal. And that's what I miss. Today I can hear anything I want instantly. That's amazing. I'm not pretending it's not. But back then, finding music felt different. It felt like somebody handed you something, like they passed you a secret. It felt like you were building your taste one burned CD at a time. For me, Linkin Park opened the door. Chester was a huge part of that. He made heavy music feel emotional. He got me into so many other bands. He showed me that yelling in a song wasn't just noise. Sometimes it was the only way the feeling could come out. And Jay-Z, he was already the symbol of cool to me. He'd wear his Yankees hat super low. I wanted to wear it like him. It never worked, but I tried. It brought together the rap world I already loved and the heavier world that I was just starting to understand. And maybe that's why it never felt fake to me, because my music taste was already being built that way. An AC/DC CD book full of whatever I could find, a swing set, and a pair of headphones. And then it dawned on me why this album's something I always come back to, because my music taste was already a collision course. Messy, loud, personal, passed from one person to another. It should have been a gimmick. It was one of the most 2000 things ever, but it worked.